white man was left standing. At this point, Miss Parks and three other black
What's so wrong with
passengers were
standing?
instructed by the driver to give up their seats to other white passengers. So it wasn't as if she was being purposefully disobedient in defiance of the rules like many of us are taught. She was following the rules by not being in the all-white section, but she refused and was arrested after the driver's request meant she could no longer...
So all this stuff sound like that they give us in school is really just fan fiction, bro.
We only gonna tell you niggas one more time, you hear me?
It's the one and only Hugh up next. How y'all living? Y'all good? Y'all straight? Great. Lies we were told in the history books. That's the video that we watching today. Hey man, before the video starts, make sure you go ahead and give me a like, man. Go ahead and give me a like. Y'all know what they do to me inside. It made me feel special. Make sure you go subscribe if you're new and smash the notification bell. Make sure y'all go follow my social medias and binge watch my content. Sorry about that, y'all. Y'all know that Rona be getting to you. But yeah, I find this video very interesting. You know, I haven't seen it yet, obviously, but I believe probably 5% of the stuff they taught us in school, 5 to 10%, most of it is cap. They be flogging. So I really don't believe nothing they really taught us in school, because school really taught us we couldn't be nothing without this, we couldn't be nothing without that, can't be nothing without a college degree, we won't be nothing without a high school diploma. And that's nothing but straight false information. Especially now we have everything in front of us. Everything is, accessible at this moment. But anyway, man, we're going to go ahead and get into this video, and I'm going to see y'all in the next scene. Alright, y'all, let's go ahead and get into this video. We're going to see what they lied to us about. Let's go ahead and see. They stay lying about something, bro. They're supposed to be annoying, bro. Let's get it. Come on, man.
Human history is packed full of uncertainty, and we can't even begin to know everything about our ancient past.
They love having
Like
Egypt.
I told you, some of the most basic facts you learn in history class are founded on lies. Stay
Of course.
tuned as I untangle some
We
of
know
those common
this.
historical misconceptions you should probably know about.
Alright, let's get it. They stay flogging,
Number
y'all.
10.
Okay.
Rosa Parks. Iconic activist
Rosa Parks.
Parks had a huge part to play in the history of the American Civil Rights Movement when she bravely refused to give up her seat on a segregated bus.
Yeah,
in
she
Montgomery,
gave.
Alabama
She didn't give up this seat,
December 1st,
man.
1955.
Okay.
Many of us may have learned about how this fatigued, ordinary woman refused to give up her seat in the all-white section of the bus at the end of a long day and accidentally became the mother of the Civil Rights Movement.
Yeah,
as
she
we
did.
know it. But that story isn't
She just
necessarily
got
true.
blew up.
Firstly, Miss Parks was no everyday hero. Although she was a seamstress by day, she was also a well-trained anti-segregation activist who had since said herself that the only tired I was tired of giving in.
Okay, so she was already kind of like an activist, is what I'm getting from it. Okay, so Rosa Parks wasn't just this tired woman. She was just, you know, it was over with. You know, we tired of this. You dig what I'm saying? Okay, that's one fact. She was a little activist already.
December 1st, she was sat in the front row of the middle section of the bus designated for African American or colored riders, when the bus became packed with passengers and a white man was left standing. At this point, Miss Parks and three other black passengers were instructed by the driver to give up their seats to other white passengers. So it wasn't as if she was being purposefully disobedient in defiance of the rules like many of us are taught. She was following the rules by not being in the all-white section, but she refused and was arrested after the driver's request meant she could no longer
dang, they lied to us about that. They told us she was in the front of the bus and like dude came on it. I know y'all remember that from kindergarten. And when dude came on, he was like, get up, and she was like, no. That's not the real truth. She was actually in the black section and like it wasn't no more seats, so they asked her to get up. So basically they was like saying, I don't care what section this is, this all white to us. Get your, you know what, out their seat. Okay, that's interesting. That's an interesting fact. Why they couldn't just tell us that in... Man, it's crazy.
Earning herself a pivotal role as a woman who changed the course of history.
Why they couldn't just tell us that?
Chinese foot binding.
Chinese
In
football.
China, there's an age-old tradition where
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
young girls' feet are broken and bound into little golden lotus shapes, which has now entirely died out. Generally,
I
teaching
hope
of this
so.
practice by most other
Sounds
nations
painful.
is assumed that foot binding was favored because it was believed that smaller and daintier feet would make upper-class girls more attractive.
That's what they taught us in
to
school.
suitors. But recent research suggests a surprisingly different motivation. In a study by Lauren Boston and Hill Gates titled Bound Feet, Young Hands, 1,800 foot-bound Chinese women were interviewed, and their responses revealed that the practice was popularized to immobilize girls and force them to stay at home and work. Girls were taught how to spin, weave.
Okay. So, see another thing? So, it was basically like, that was like saying, women, y'all supposed to cook, and that's it, clean, keep the house together, and that's it. That's what they was basically saying about binding their feet, like making them like they can't go for it. So it wasn't really just to make them feel make them small feeties attractive. They taught us that in school, y'all.
Do other handiwork.
It's crazy. I remember this. I learned this like in the 10th grade.
Tedious work, taking foot binding with it. Contrary to popular belief,
Thinking like world
having
civilization.
this wasn't a privilege reserved for upper-class women either, although it may have originated from high-class court dancers during 10th century imperial China. Many peasant families practiced binding to maximize their family income, and the bizarre cultural beauty standards we have long blamed for this unusual custom are simply another case of distorted history.
Yeah. Damn, they just be flogging about anything, don't they?
If the question, who invented the telephone, crops up in a pop quiz, most of us would confidently answer Alexander Graham Bell. But you'd be wrong. Technically,
See?
in reality, Bell was one of several men working on the
He
idea
would
of
probably-
the telephone at the
he
same
probably
time.
made it
He just
popular
lucked
or
out on
something. I
getting
don't
to the patent office first on February 4th,
See?
1976.
See, that's how they do us. That's how they do you. You know, you do something. It's just like you doing the idea or something. That's why I be like kind of holding back on my ideas sometimes. You say your idea, you try and do it. They be the first one to do it. And get all the credit. That's how folks be dirty. Dirty
Another
MF.
man, Elijah Gray, had also invented a similar device to Bell's talking telegraph and intended to patent it on the very same day. Both men sent their lawyers to the U.S. Patent Office, but Bell's got there first, making his entry the 5th of the day, while Gray was 39th on the list.
That's
To make matters more
crazy.
confusing, it also transpired
He
that
ran
neither of
down
these
there.
inventors can truly be called the father of modern communications,
Right.
as the telephone was actually originally created by an Italian immigrant called Antonio Meucci. Meucci began developing his idea for a teletrafono in 1849, and even filed a caveat to announce the invention in 1871, but he was unable to renew it due to his poor social standing, allowing Alexander Bell to swoop in some 16 years later and claim the credit. Thankfully, the U.S. Congress decided to recognize the work of the impoverished Florentine immigrant in 2002, so all's fair in love and war.
Like, why they can't just put that in the book, though?
When you
Napoleon.
picture the fearsome French military leader Napoleon Bonaparte, you'll probably imagine a tiny man in a stupidly big hat.
That's what they be
The
saying.
reality is he probably didn't look much like that at all. The common belief that Napoleon was unusually short, giving us the popular phrase,
He was probably like
Napoleon
5'5".
complex, has been up for debate throughout history, and the likelihood is his height was nothing out of the ordinary. Reports have stated that he stood a measly 5'2", and while that
5'2".
is technically
He's
true,
still
French
little
inches
more.
also used to be longer than English inches, so his height actually translates to around 5'6", which is perfectly average for
Hey, y'all can't lie. I was almost close, though. I didn't know nothing about that. I said about 5'5". I knew, somewhere in the area, they always try to. I'm actually a
For some
genius, y'all.
perspective, the not-so-little leader even measures up pretty well to our own political figureheads today. Other factors behind his warped image can be attributed to his nickname, Le Petit Corporal, which was a term of endearment rather than a reference to his height, and the fact that he liked to surround himself with the tallest soldiers is a military tactic. So as it turns out, being likened to Napoleon is really no insult at all.
Okay.
Number 6. Christopher Columbus. Christopher Columbus is one of the most
Here we go, Christopher Columbus. We know him. We all know his whole story is all kept. We all know that.
explorers in history.
But let's take
He's
a look
been
at this.
credited with a whole host of achievements like proving that the earth isn't flat and being the first man to discover America as we know it today. The sad truth is that Columbus actually did neither of these things when he bravely set sail back in 1492.
He ain't discovered
The
nothing.
age-old tale about Columbus convincing a council of 1490s religious clerics that he wouldn't just sail off the edge of the earth was completely falsified by author Washington Irving.
So if he never found out that the Earth was flat, and we all know that the pictures of the Earth on Google Earth and all of that, we know that's all Photoshop, and we know that's all cap. We really don't know what the world is, which is I don't really care about the. I don't really think that's like. I think it's important to a certain degree. So when people be like, "You stupid, you believe the Earth is flat," and you not stupid. The stuff they stupid. They probably ain't even ever seen this video or did any real research. So, and we all know, just like stuff like people believing there's a rover on Mars. Gotta be the dumbest. We ain't even finna get into that. You actually believe that too? You actually believe it?
In fact, by the late 15th century,
cap.
Person
So they capping with
the
it.
Earth was flat, because Greek scholars like Pythagoras and Aristotle had already determined the Earth's spherical shape as early as 600 BC. The intrepid explorer
Pythagoras they already thought it was, even though
by sailing west rather than east.
we know that's Greek. Let me not get into that.
It wasn't even America. It was the Caribbean. The first European to reach American shores was Eric the Red in the 10th century. Followed by
Eric the Red was the first
Leif
one.
Erikson in the 11th century.
Leif
The
Erikson.
whole Columbus story is just one big snowball of historical lies.
Crazy.
Number 5.
We know.
Salem Witch Trials. The Salem Witch Trials are one of the darkest chapters in American history, in which hundreds of innocent men and women supposedly were burned at the stake for witchcraft and acts of pure evil.
I always thought that was kind of weird though. Like, I don't know.
Actually far from the truth, because the whole thing was a lot tamer than by how it's been told.
Okay.
And between February 1692 and the end of the ordeal in May 1693, not even a single person went up in flames. The mass hysteria which gripped North America was nothing more than a moral panic perpetrated by a God-fearing belief in black magic, and records show that only 20 people were killed as a result. 14 women and 5 men were hanged, and one man, Giles Corey, was crushed by heavy stones after he
that sounds terrible.
with the devil.
Oh, that sounds terrible.
Set ablaze while tied to a wooden stake originates from European witch trials in places like Germany, Italy, Scotland, France, and Scandinavia, which were definitely far uglier. Witch burning in those places was a popular form of punishment, and some 50,000 people were executed by fire between.
This kind of reminded me of the whole panic that's going on right now. Like, just like Salem, only 20 people got murdered, and just like here they be like, oh, over 100,000 people has caught it. Then you look up how many people died, 100 or 200, some number that's way less.
15th and 18th centuries.
They just be trying to make some type of history, man. Don't be believing this stuff they be saying, bro.
Number 4, Vikings. Vikings are probably one of the more interesting things you learn in history class, as these fearsome Scandinavian warriors raided their way through Europe during the Viking Age of 798 to 1066 AD. Part of their appeal is their iconic look. Long plaited hair, some pretty impressive facial hair, and menacing horned helmets.
Right. And don't forget they always show them what they buff.
Although little physical historical evidence from the Viking period exists, researchers show that the popular image of the horned Viking is little more than a common misconception. Although they did wear protective headgear into battle, there's nothing to support the idea that horns were involved at all. Early depictions from between 8th and 11th centuries show them bareheaded or in simple iron and leather headgear, while only one legitimate Viking helmet has ever been found in 1943, and there were no such horns in sight.
So all this stuff really just
actually originates from impoverished headgear in early art.
So all this stuff sound like that they give us in school is really just fan fiction, bro. Them folks said these folks wore horns on their helmets, and they never wore horns. They only found one helmet. So really, they just writing fan fiction for us and making us go to school.
Like this one, as well as the costume design featured in the 1876 operatic cycle by Richard Wagner called Der Ring des Nibelungen. Number 3, Isaac Newton. We've all heard the story about an apple falling on a young Isaac
We know
Newton
this,
at
Cap.
University one day.
This was stupid
Theory
even then.
of gravity, published in 1687. But it might be just a story after all. According to research from the Royal Society in London in 2010, the incident likely happened in his mother's garden at Woolsthorpe Manor rather than at Cambridge. And there's no evidence to suggest it hit him on the head at all. At the time, Newton left no written account of such an event, and he only shared the anecdote some 50 years later in 1726 in a biography.
Another one. So they teaching us that the apple fell on his head. This man never said it. This is really reminding me of something else, like, you know, like on ESPN. Like now they be like debating a lot of stuff. Man, Michael Jordan said, or LeBron be like, I ain't never said that. Like, y'all just, these folks will lie to you during the time, and they'll lie about you after the fact. Like, these folks are nothing but liars, bro. Like, they be making stuff seem like stuff that ain't even happened.
Written by William Stukely.
Crazy.
Memoirs of Sir Isaac Newton's life. According to Stukely, the pair were sat in an orchard one evening when Newton recounted that upon seeing an apple fall some years earlier, he began to contemplate why it fell downwards rather than sideways or upwards. Newton also claimed to have entertained others with the quirky anecdote during his lifetime, so perhaps this age-old tale is nothing but a work of old man's fiction at its core.
Crazy.
Number 2. The Titanic. The RMS Titanic went down in history as the unsinkable ship, which ironically sank after hitting
I never knew that the Titanic was a real thing.
Recent evidence suggests we may have remembered the disaster all wrong. Photographs found in an attic in England by journalist Senan Molyneux in 2017 seem to reveal that the tragedy was actually partly caused by a blazing coal fire in the ship's hull, which can be identified by a 30-foot burn mark in an image taken at the shipyard before the luxury liner even set sail. The disastrous events have been pieced together to suggest that the crew only became aware of the fire 3 weeks later and tried to contain the flames to no avail, causing significant damage to the ship's hull and tearing its lining open. The burning of this excess coal would explain why the ship was traveling at full speed when it collided with the iceberg off the coast of Newfoundland on April 14, 1912, despite warnings that there were icebergs in the area. Though the fire may only have hastened the Titanic's tragic fate, it definitely played a large part in the extraordinary events which captured the world's imagination.
Tough.
Number 1. Jesus. The popularized image of Jesus has...
And y'all still be having this in y'all houses. This might, for one, the Bible tell you how the way Jesus looks. For one, it clear. People don't read. It tells you how Jesus look, and y'all got this dude. Don't let me get into the whole. Don't let me get into the whole fact that these folks stole the Bible. Don't let me get to that.
Become instantly recognizable.
The people that show the image stole the Bible. Don't let me get started with that.
Hair and beard and heavenly white robes. But modern speculation suggests that the Son of God probably looked nothing like this at all. This well-known image comes from symbolic representations of the Byzantine era during the 4th century, which modeled Jesus on the Olympian god Zeus to emphasize his position as a divine ruler. The mythical Shroud of Turin, which was discovered in 1354, supposedly showing an accurate imprint of Jesus' face after the crucifixion, has also been debunked as Renaissance art.
That didn't make sense either.
What did he look like? The Bible itself is fairly nondescript in its description of Jesus' appearance, other than that he was a regular Palestinian Jewish man living in Galilee.
That mindset is not. It literally has a description in there. It literally has a description how he looks in the Bible.
First century, using historical evidence from other men of this time, researchers have
Palestinian,
probably around 5 foot 5 inches tall, with brown eyes and olive skin. His hair and beard were likely kept short, as early cave paintings suggest, while his robes were short and tan or cream because white required bleaching. Images like this one of a Galilean man by forensic anthropologist Richard Neve, based on an Israeli skull from the 1st century AD, may be the closest we've come to an accurate image, although the world may never truly know. So which of these historical lies fooled you?
I don't know, but it does have a description of the way Jesus looked. You know, I don't know if I'm putting the video or not, but it tell you can go look for it. Tell you that like his hair was wool and all that. That's all in the Bible, bro. But we don't even get into all that, man. Hey, if you enjoyed the video, this video actually like it just proves to me more that school is BS. It's all BS. And the stuff that you learn that you don't do your own research for, you are caught up in a whole bunch of web of lies. Then I be trying, man, don't let me get it started on that. But anyway, man, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like. And like I said at first, follow my social medias. I appreciate y'all viewing the video, and I'm going to see y'all in the next scene.
You hear me? Yeah.